We'll give it a few more minutes, Dale. I know you have a tight presentation timeline.
Sure.
Just want to make sure we have enough people to get started.
Sure.
Also, we are slightly early. It's still.
Yeah, that's a pleasant problem, man.
Yes.
Will I be able to get a count of how many attended when all is said and done?
Yes, that's a plan.
Great. Great. Yeah, need it for my MVP profile, as you know.
Yes.
Prasanna, are we about ready to roll?
All right. I guess we'll get started and then let people join in as they come in.
Okay, sure. Fair enough.
Hello and welcome, everyone. Today we have Dale Howard, a familiar name to many of you in the project community, presenting us with tips and tricks for administering and using Project Online. I just want to remind everybody, if you have any questions, you can always use the chat to ask those questions. And whenever Dale is ready to take some questions, I can read them out. And also, and I know we have heard some feedback that the site has been having some issues. Those issues are resolved right now for most part. So you should be able to access this and any other sessions without any difficulty. So without further ado, Dale, please take it away.
Hey, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on where you are in the world. It is I, your old friend, Dale Howard. I did want to make one announcement before I get started. There is a possibility that I won't be entertaining questions during my webinar simply because of time constraints. I'm just going to play it by ear. I've got some good content I'd like to show you. It's all very self-explanatory. You'll be able to get a copy of my PowerPoint. You'll be able to see and hear the recording as well. So if I have time for questions, I will. If not, I hope the presentation will serve you well. First of all, I just want to say thank you to Prasanna and to all of our sponsors for making this event possible. It is I, Dale Howard, your speaker today. My privilege to be here. I'm the director of Sensei Project Solutions, currently one of only 39 Microsoft project MVPs in the entire world. My company is Sensei Project Solutions. The couple of singular honors that have come our way, we were Microsoft's PPM Partner of the Year winner in 2014, and we've been a finalist in both 2015 and 2017. All right, very, very little introduction because I wanted the main part of my content to be the actual presentation. So here's the first topic. I want to talk with you about customizing the ribbon and quick access toolbar in Microsoft Project, and this is aimed specifically at you who are project managers. You know that the ribbon and quick access toolbar were introduced originally in the 2010 release of the Microsoft Office tools. Specifically for us today, that was Microsoft Project 2010. They did replace all of the familiar menus and toolbars that had been in all previous versions of the Microsoft applications in the Office. So what users can do is they can customize their own ribbon and quick access toolbar in every one of the Office applications. I can actually tell you from experience that I have heavily customized the quick access toolbar in my own copy of Microsoft Word, Microsoft Excel, and Microsoft PowerPoint. And then I've done a whole bunch of customizations to both the quick access toolbar and the ribbon in Microsoft Project. So what you can actually do if you have a hankering to do some customization, you can actually create new ribbons if you want entire new ribbons, or you can add new sections to existing ribbons. You can also add frequently used buttons to your quick access toolbar. And the way that you do both of these in Microsoft Project is by using the Project Options dialog. So let me take you over to Microsoft Project, and here's where you would do this. You'd go to File, Options, and then in the Options dialog, you have two different tabs here, Customize Ribbon. Here you can see the ribbons that are currently available in Microsoft Project, the sections that are in each ribbon. You can also see there's a page for customizing the quick access toolbar as well. So let me show you what I've done in my own copy of Microsoft Project specifically for this presentation today. I created a brand new ribbon called Definition. And what it does is it lists the 6 steps that we should be following to properly define or initiate every new project we create. Doesn't matter how we create it, can be from an enterprise template, a standard template, a template of our own creation, or even just from a blank file. Those are the 6 steps you really ought to follow to properly define your new project. So look, they're all laid out for you, steps 1 through 6. And then I created a second new ribbon called Project Web App, where we've got some of the most commonly used buttons that I think you would want to use in the project online. And then beyond this, in the little quick access toolbar, look, here's a whole bunch of frequently used buttons. Buttons I'll bet you use a lot, including 4 buttons that let you do zooming. Well, here's the deal, everybody. I'm not going to go through the steps to show you how I actually did this. What I would like you to be able to do is this. You'll be able to go to the download site for the project virtual conference sample files. It's at this URL. If you want to just write it down, you're just going to take the normal URL for the project virtual conference and add a slash and then session-downloads. That'll take you to the place where you can find the sample files for my webinar. What you'll see is a copy of my PowerPoint in PDF format, plus a customization file that I used to create the custom ribbons and customize the quick access toolbar, and a PDF file that will give you the directions to follow exactly to end up with what I'm showing you here. So I want to save time, and I just don't want to go through all those steps. So folks, the materials are available in the download site. Go get them. Good luck customizing your own Microsoft project. Next topic I wanted to talk with you about, more customization. Now, this topic is customizing the project web app user interface, and this is specifically for those of you who are application administrators. So some of the changes that I recommend you do to the Project Online PWA user interface would include the following. Number one, a customization that I've recommended since Microsoft Project Server 2002. So this goes back a ways. And that is to add a custom link to the quick launch menu called Home, or PWA Home, that'll make it real easy for people to get back to the home page. Also, if your organization intends to use the timesheet feature in Project Online, I strongly recommend you create a custom link called Manage Timesheets. And then if you are using the timesheet functionality, I recommend that you display a link for the timesheet and that custom link for Manage Timesheets in the quick launch menu. And then beyond this, I recommend that you customize the Track Your Work carousel to display some additional tiles for timesheets, issues, and risks. So let's take a look at how to do that. So ladies and gentlemen, this is the home page of Project Web App. This is what a freshly configured PWA looks like. We see a very small quick launch menu, only a few tiles in the Track Your Work carousel. So let's go ahead and do some customization. So in order to do customization, well, number one, going to need to go to PWA settings. And then over here on the left, here's a link for quick launch. So here's where I can actually customize what appears on the left side of the page. Now let me go get a URL. And folks, I've put a couple URLs into a text file here just to make life a little bit easier for me. So let's create a brand new link. And we're going to call this PWA Home. That'll help people to get back to the home page really easily. And we'll make this a new heading and we'll display it in the quick launch menu. So I'll click OK. Now look, it ends up clear at the bottom. So let's go ahead and we'll move it up to the very top of the list. All right, now let me go get another URL. This is the URL of the Manage Timesheets page. And let's go ahead and create another new link. And we'll give it the real name. It's called Manage Timesheets. And we'll paste the URL in. We'll go ahead and click OK. And then I'll need to move this. So let me go ahead and select the row. And where I'd like to put it is right above the timesheet link. Now, from here, let's go ahead and do a couple of things. For the Manage Timesheet, we do want to display that in the quick launch menu. The timesheet link, we do want to display that in the quick launch menu because our organization intends to use the timesheets functionality. And then also, to make it easy for people to get to the server settings page, I'll go ahead and select that as well. But you know, it's interesting, server settings is for project server, and I think we need to rename this PWA settings, because if I look on this, look at, ladies and gentlemen, it says right there PWA settings. So I just want this to be very consistent. So let's go ahead. We'll save and close. And with any luck, hey, by golly, look at this, ladies and gentlemen. There it is, PWA home. I click that. Let's see. Look at there. Took me back to the home page. Nice. And there we are. Tasks, manage timesheets. Yeah, look at there. Wow. Folks, it's all working. I guess I shouldn't be too surprised. I've written books about these things, co-authored books. Now, the other thing I wanted to show you is how to customize the track your work carousel, because this is totally non-obvious, I've got to tell you. So here's what you have to do. You have to go to the settings menu button. And what we're going to do here is edit the page. We're going to edit the page. And what the system will do is turn this into an editable page. Here's the track your work web part. And it's very non-obvious, but if I float my mouse pointer in the web part, here's a tiny little drop-down arrow button. And if I click that, it'll let me edit the web part. Folks, do you see how non-obvious that is? So now I get my choice. What tiles do we want to display? So here's what we have. We have the projects tile. That's already selected. The approvals tile for pending tasks. See, optionally, we could display these as well if that is helpful. But I do want to show the timesheets. We'll select that. And we'll also show issues and risks as well. And then I'll go ahead and click OK. And then on the top left corner, I'll click Stop Editing. And bingo, ladies and gentlemen, there I've now customized the user interface in PWA. All right, so there we go. Let's continue on. Use the Focus on Content button. That's my next topic. This one is directed specifically at team members and you folks who are project managers. Ladies and gentlemen, I gotta tell you, in my experience, I believe the Focus on Content button is probably the least used feature in Project Web App. In fact, some of you may be saying, huh? Focus on content? I didn't even know there was such a button. Well, folks, here's where it is. It's hiding right out there in plain sight in the upper right corner of every PWA. It's hiding out there, out in plain sight, so you'll never see it or find it. Because you know what? PWA is really busy. There's a lot of things to look at, I know. Now, the Focus on Content button is actually a toggle button that you can turn on and off as you need to, and you can use it to temporarily hide the quick launch menu and any content at the top of the page that is not absolutely needed on that page. Now, there's several places in PWA, I'll guarantee you that it is ideal for use. They include the timesheet page, the tasks page, and the approval center page for project managers. See, 2 of those pages are for team members and project managers, and the third is exclusively for project managers. There's actually other pages as well, but these are the minimum. So the reason I like the Focus on Content button is simply because it allows the user to see more of the content that we want to see on each of these pages. So let me go back to PWA. And let me just show you the Focus on Content button. Folks, it's right up here, hiding out there in plain sight. It looks like a box. So here's what I want to do. Let me go to the tasks page. All right. Now, if I go to Focus on Content, Oh, look. Now I can see more of the page. Look at this. I could pull the split bar over a bit. I can see more information here. I like that. Now, if I click it again, see, it turns it off. So now if I go to the timesheet link, it'll take me to the timesheet page. And let's go ahead and do focus on content again. Oh yeah, look at this, everybody. See here, I can go ahead and widen things up a bit. You know, I can add rows in and so forth. And again, unclick it. And then if I go to the approval center page, we'll just look at one more here. You know, this is just absolutely ripe territory, this page, for using focus on content, especially when you have more than just like I have here. I have administrative time, approvals for vacation. But if I had task updates pending, I'd really want to see the whole time phase grid over here on the right, so that I can study the updates and make sure I know what is going on. So ladies and gentlemen, there you have it, hiding out there in plain sight so we could never find it. All right, let me get back to PWA Home. See, look, that link is already coming in handy. All right, let's continue on. Next topic. Best practices for using the timesheet page in PWA. And this, my friends, is aimed directly at team members, the folks that are going to be using the timesheet page to report time and task progress. Now, this part of my presentation assumes that you are using the default setup of the timesheet page in PWA. If you've done customization to it, you got to take this with a grain of salt. So this is assuming that you're using the default setup of the timesheet page. All right, so here's some recommended best practices. Number one, use the Manage Timesheets page to create a timesheet to make sure you're creating for the current time period. You know, if somebody forgets to fill out a timesheet for last week, and then they click the timesheet link on Monday of the next week, it's opening the timesheet in the wrong time period. Manage Timesheets will eliminate that problem. Now, once we get into the timesheet, here's what we'll do as a team member. We'll hide the column called project name. And then we're going to move the remaining work column to the immediate right of the task name description column. Then we'll group on the project name column. See, that's how we can get away with hiding the project name column. We just group on it, which I think it makes it easier to use the page. And then here's what we'll do. We'll use the options ribbon to display the planned row for each of our project tasks, so we can study the planned work for the current week, and then we'll hide the planned row so we can begin putting in our actual progress. Now, before we do anything else, here it is, ladies and gentlemen, mentioned a second time. We'll click the Focus on Content button, and then we'll use the following process to enter task progress. And folks, this is, I think, a pretty universal best practice used for the timesheet page. As a team member, we need to enter progress on a daily basis and save our changes at the end of each day. Doing it on a daily basis means our updates are much more accurate. On the last day of the week, we'll adjust the remaining work on any task that as needed. We'll also add additional task notes wherever they're needed to communicate with our project manager. And then Friday at quitting time, when we're all done, we've got it all filled out and ready to go, we'll submit our timesheet for approval to our project manager. And then, ladies and gentlemen, there it is again. Then we'll unclick the Focus on Content button. All right, so here's, whoops, That isn't what I wanted to do. I didn't want to turn off. Let me get that back. All right, so let me get back to Project Web App, and I'm going to show you the recommended best practice here. I'm going to go to Manage Timesheets. All right, and then see on the page what I can do is I can make sure I'm correct in choosing the correct timesheet period. If I forgot to do last week, see, I could just go back here and create it. So what I'm going to do is create a timesheet for the current time period. So I'll click to create. All right, so here we go. Here's how to customize the timesheet page as a team member. First of all, what I'll do is I'll go to the project name column header. When I float my mouse pointer over it, I see a drop-down menu. And on the drop-down menu, what I can actually do is choose Configure Columns. Configure Columns. So here's the deal. Project name, I don't want to see it, so I'll deselect the checkbox. And then what I will do is, let's find remaining work here. Look at how far down it is on the list. That's actually pretty important. If your team members need to adjust it, why should they have to go looking for it? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to move it immediately below task name and description. And then I'll click OK. All right, bingo, look at that. Let's go ahead and widen this up a little bit. There we go. All right, next, I'll go to the options ribbon and let's apply some grouping. And I'll say, let's group on, see, there it is. Even though it's hidden, it's still available for grouping. So let's group on project name. Let's see what we get here. There, oh, look, ladies and gentlemen, nice. I like this. Okay, look, we've got our administrative tasks listed up here first. Then we've got the tasks I'm assigned to in the iOS app for light rail and more tasks in the Southeast Region Market Research Project. Now let's see what's planned for the current week. So I'll select the plan checkbox. Okay, I see I've got some defined scope of project, a few other odds and ends, yep. And I've got some part-time work scattered throughout the rest of the timesheet. All right, now I'm going to hide the plan row again. And then here is where I would use the focus on content. And you know what, at this point, I could actually pull the split bar over just a little bit, see a few more columns. Now, that is what a team member can do. That's what a team member can do if the project online administrator has not customized the timesheet to make it easier to use. The trouble is, every team member has to do this individually. I really think we shouldn't expect them to do this, but I wanted you to know it is possible for any team member to do this individually. So here's what I'm going to do. I've customized this timesheet. I'm going to delete it. And then what I'd like to do, let me take you back to my PowerPoint presentation. And let's talk now about what the application administrator could do to make life a little bit easier for our beloved team members. And folks, I say that good-naturedly, beloved team members. Why? Well, those are the folks that do the actual work in the projects. They are beloved to us because they help us to get the project done. So this is aimed at you, application administrators. Here's a best practice approach on how to set up the timesheet page in Project Web App. Now, the view that you're going to be looking for as an application administrator is in the timesheet section, and it's called the My Work view. And what I recommend you do is include only the following columns, and in this order: task name, description, remaining work, comments for tasks, that's actually notes. That's actually notes, folks. Billing category, process status, start and finish, and I recommend you make both of them read only so team members cannot change start and finish dates. That's the project manager's job, not team member. And you do need to include project name. That has to be there. So we'll put it last on the list. And then I recommend you apply grouping by the project name column. And then you apply sorting by the start field in ascending order. So let's see how that works. I'll use my new PWA settings link over here. And let's go to Manage Views. Manage Views. Now I'll have to scroll down on the page a bit. We're looking for the timesheet section right here. And here it is, ladies and gentlemen. It is the My Work view for the timesheet page. Now over here on the right, ladies and gentlemen, this is actually the default list of the columns that are included in the timesheet. And look, remaining work, just as we saw, was way down on the list. So here's what I'm going to do. I want to remove some of the default fields. So here's what's going by comment. Going to remove that. And then also percent work complete, work, actual work, and duration. Let me just get rid of those four. I don't think they're really needed. We're focusing on putting hours in on a daily basis. Do we really need those? And then what I would like to do beyond this is let's go back up to the top and let's find another field that is really worthy of our time. It's called the comments task field, which is actually the notes field. It's where a team member can put in notes. So let's go ahead and we're going to rearrange things. So here's the order we want. We want task name description first. Then we want remaining work second. So let's move it up there. And then we want comments task. We'll put that up right below remaining work. Then project name, I'm going to move that all the way down to the bottom. Move it to the very end. So we want comments task, billing category, process status, start assignment, finish assignment, lastly project name. Now start assignment, let's make it read only so the team member cannot change the start date of a task. So there's the checkbox, folks, make column read only. Then we'll go to the finish field. We'll make it read only. Oh, this is going to be nice. I think this will be nice. Okay, one other thing. Almost always task name and description, it's not wide enough to start with. So why don't we go ahead and just make it 350 pixels? Let's just make it wider to begin with. Okay, so there, we've got the column set up. Set a column width, made two of them read only. Now, by the way, optionally, if your organization says you don't want team members adjusting remaining work, but you do want them to see it, ladies and gentlemen, you could make remaining work read only as well. But if you do want team members to be able to adjust the remaining work on their tasks, then leave it as a read-write column. All right, little bit more till we get it set up. Next thing, in the format view section, let's apply some grouping. And what we're going to do is we're going to group by project name. We're going to group by project name. And then sorting. Let's do some sorting here. We will sort by the start date of each task in ascending order. So there we go. That's the setup of the page. I'm going to keep my fingers crossed here. Hope I did it right. So let's go back, manage timesheets. We'll click the link, click to create. And because I just edited that view, here we go, ladies and gentlemen, look at here. Everything is now set up, and this would be done for every team member. It would be done automatically for every team member. Makes life way, way easier for the folks. All right, let's continue on. I know the clock is ticking. Here is a huge, important topic that is of great interest to organizations that use the resource engagements feature in Project Online. This is a two-part topic. The first part is creating a custom screen layout for planning resource engagements. And folks, this is aimed directly at you if you are a project manager. If your company is using resource engagements, you definitely want to see this part of the presentation. So let's talk in theory about resource engagements. All right, when a project is created and approved, the project is going to be in Project Online. Some companies require that the project manager will then go into the planning process. Part of that will be adding named resources to the project team, assigning those resources to tasks. In some organizations, though, you will have resources that must have resource engagements created for them. Those are called high demand resources. The resources that everybody wants on their team because they're a ringer. They get the job done right. They get it done right the first time, no argument. You can count on them through thick and thin. So for those high demand resources, at a minimum, you'll want to create resource engagements. And then you'll submit your resource plan with those resource engagements, and you'll publish your project. Then here's part 2 of my presentation. I'll show you this in a couple minutes. The resource manager of the people, resource managers of the people that you created the resource engagements for will need to review those resource engagements. The resource manager will definitely need to determine resource availability for the people that you want to use to see, are they even available to work in your new project? And then from there, the resource manager can either approve, modify and approve, or reject the resource engagement that you've created. Now, I hope they never reject. That doesn't do anybody any good. They should do one of the following. If they don't like what you're asking, they should modify it and then approve it, or they simply need to approve it outright. And then what you will need to do in response is to review the approved resource engagement so you can move on with your project. So here's the problem that you run into as a project manager, and it's the limitations of the resource plan view in Microsoft Project. These limitations include, number one, the resource plan view just doesn't show you enough information to help you to create your resource engagements for named resources. And even worse still, if you thought, well, let me just go into a split screen view or combination view, how about I put resource plan in the top pane and resource usage in the bottom pane? It won't let you do that. It'll not allow you to include the resource plan in a combination or split view. So because of these limitations, I recommend that you use a custom screen arrangement, not a view, but a screen arrangement that will help you to determine the information needed to create resource engagements for human resources. Now, to create this custom screen arrangement, here's the steps that you'll do. You'll apply the resource plan view, then you'll open a brand new window. And in that window, you will display the resource usage view. In the resource usage view, you'll add some extra columns, start, finish, and assignment units. And then you will switch windows, go back to the resource plan view, and then you'll do an arrange all, which, ladies and gentlemen, will put the resource plan view in the top pane and the resource usage view in the top pane. It looks like a split screen or combination view, but it really isn't. It's just a custom screen arrangement. So let me do this. Let's get back to Microsoft Project. And I want to open a project. It's AI for ATMs. Oh, it didn't like that very well. All right. Let's see if we can get it. Okay, let me close Microsoft Project. We'll get back into it. Don't know why I'm getting that internal error, but maybe starting out fresh will help. All right, let's try that again one more time. Come on, work. Here we go. That's more like it. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, this is what I wanted to show you. I've got these orange indicators over here on a number of tasks in the project. See these orange indicators? This means that I need to create resource engagements for somebody in this project. So let's find out who. So let's go to the view ribbon and we'll bring up the resource plan view. And let's go ahead and pull things over so we can see what's going on here. Oh, look, it's for Mickey Cobb. Mickey Cobb is actually a high demand resource. Everybody wants her. She's a technical writer. She's a ringer. Everybody wants her in their project. So now I need to figure out, okay, so I've got to create at least one resource engagement. So how do I figure out what information do I put in? So ladies and gentlemen, here's what we do. I'll go to the new window button at the far end of the view ribbon. And in this new window, I'll display resource usage. Bingo. There's the default resource usage view. Now what I'll do is I'll add some new columns using the add new column virtual column. And the columns I want will be this. We'll put in start. And we'll add finish. We narrow those columns up a bit. And then the last one, I want assignment units. Assignment units. And let's narrow that up a bit too. There we go. Now that's how much she is assigned to on each task in the project schedule so far. We can see where she's assigned, or others are assigned full-time, part-time, so forth. So then I'll scroll down here so we can see Mickey Cobb. All right, so the next thing is, let me switch back to the resource plan view, and then I'll go ahead and do the arrange all. There we are, ladies and gentlemen. Check it out. Boy, this sure looks like a split screen or combination view, but it's actually not. It's actually just a custom screen arrangement here. So let me make the bottom one a little taller. So let's go ahead and see what we have here for Mickey Cobb. All right, so what I want you to notice is this. She's got some tasks here in July and August where she's assigned 100% units. All right, I've got her assigned at 100%. So I think I need a resource engagement for that time period. Then there's a period of time in September and October where she's only needed 25% time. So I think I'll create another resource engagement for that. And then when we go into the next year, I wanted you to notice in 2019, in January, February, and very early March, she's needed for a mix of 100% and less than that. So I think I actually need a third resource engagement for that time period as well. So let me go back up to Mickey Cobb. We'll go to the engagements. All right, it's going to warn me I can't make changes to things. That's fine. So I've got Mickey Cobb selected. All right, so let's add an engagement. And we'll choose Mickey Cobb. And the first one, we're going to call her work High Level Project Planning. The start date on that, I'm going to put a little padding in here, folks. I'm going to say this will be from July the 2nd through August the 10th. See, I'm trying to pad it up a little bit in case the project slips. I do need her to work full time. So I'll go ahead and click OK. Bingo, ladies and gentlemen, there's our first resource engagement. So let's go back to Mickey and we'll create a second one. See how I'm using that information from down here to plan my resource engagements accurately. So let's do another one. We'll make sure we've got Mickey Cobb selected. And the second one is called Create Project Documentation. And for that, we're going to start that on October the 1st. So we'll do October the 1st through November the 9th. Through November the 9th. Again, putting just a little padding in there. Now, I only need her 25%, so I'm just going to request her at 25% units. And I'll click OK. There we go. There we go. We've got 2 done. Now let's do 1 more. So we'll add a third engagement. And we'll choose Mickey Cobb. And the description for this will be Project Closeout Tasks. Project Closeout Tasks. And the start on this, we're actually going to have to go into 2019. So let's zoom out there. And this will be January the 14th through March the 1st. Again, adding just a little bit of padding in there through March the 1st. And because it's a mixed bag of 100 and less, I'm just going to ask for her at 100% across that entire time period. There we go. Now, from here, what I can do is I can close the bottom pane and I will maximize the top pane. Let's go ahead and get that maximized again. All right, there we go. There's our 3 new engagements. Let me go ahead and we'll go to the engagements ribbon and let's go ahead and submit the engagements. We'll submit all of them. And bingo, look at there, ladies and gentlemen, the submit was successful. So now let's go ahead and save this project. Get the save job started. There it goes. And then we'll go ahead and publish the project as well. We'll go ahead and publish it as well. All right, so let me allow the publish to run through completely. Want to make sure that goes properly. Because what we'll look at is the other side of this story. We'll look at it from the resource manager's perspective. By the way, I get a big kick out of publish. Most of the time it goes from 0 to 100 and never tells you anything in the middle, except there we go, unless you have an absolutely gigantic project. So let me go ahead and we'll click close and we will check in this project. All right, back to the PowerPoint. And let's go ahead. I guess I jumped out of that. So here we go. All right. Flip side of the coin, reviewing and approving resource engagements. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let's look at this from the perspective of the resource manager. So if you happen to be a resource manager or a project manager who wears multiple hats, this will be of interest to you. The approval process for resource engagements is just as challenging as the creation process is for project managers. And here's the reason why it's so challenging for resource managers. Number one, they don't automatically get email messages about new resource engagements. So they have no idea they have any pending. Number two, they don't realize that they have to select all of the generic resources and human resources that report to them before they can do anything. And then here's the killer. The resource requests page does not provide enough information to allow a resource manager to approve any pending resource engagement. So here's what we recommend resource managers do. Here's recommended best practices. Number one, on the Resource Center page, if you're a resource manager, you'll start off by selecting the generic and human resources that report to you. By generic, I mean roles, if you have those kind of resources, but at a minimum, you need the humans. You can also set up your email subscriptions for your resources. Only need to do that once. Then you navigate to the resource request page in PWA, and then you pull a trick. You open a duplicate web browser tab, and on that duplicate tab, you'll navigate to one of two pages. Either the resource availability page, that's the one that is available by default in PWA, or to a custom report page that shows resource availability information for your resources. And then what you will do, my friends, is you use the information on the two web browser pages to review and approve pending resource engagements. So let me show you how this works. Let me get back to PWA, and where I need to go this time is a different instance. So let me go to the Resource Center page. Resource Center page. This is the instance I was using where I created the resource engagements for the lovely Mickey Cobb. By the way, I've got to reveal to you, the lovely Mickey Cobb, the very high demand resource that I created the engagements for, that's actually my wonderful wife, and I always honor her in my project demos. So what I wanted to show you, here's the Resource Center page grouped by role. And Mickey Cobb is a technical writer along with some other folks. So here's what we have. We have Jamel, James, Jay, Mickey, and the generic technical writer. So what I want to do right off the bat is let's go see if there are any resource, whoops, wrong one, I can do better. Let me go back. All right, so let's go back here. Let's go to the resource request page. That's more like it. Go to the resource request page. Now, let's just check and see. Oh, look at this, folks. Look at this. Here is a series of 3 resource engagement requests for Mickey Cobb. Look, it's in the AI for ATMs project. Look, the state is proposed. Okay, as I work my way across, we can see she's requested at those units, and here's the specific time period. Now, how in the world would I know whether Mickey Cobb is truly available or not? So folks, watch this trick. I will right-click on the web browser tab and choose duplicate tab. Now, it's going to tell me the web page has expired, so all you have to do is refresh the page and then say retry. Now, from here, what you can do is you can choose either the capacity planning button, that'll show you resource availability, or because I have a system where I've got a custom report that'll show me resource availability, I'm going to go to the Report Center page. And I'll bring up a special report. By the way, this is not advertising for Sensei, but these are reports that we have created that we make available to all of our clients. All of our clients have these reports. If you like them, you could have them too. So this is a resource availability report, and I need to look at Mickey's availability by percentage because that's the way the requests are made. See, everybody? See the units, those percentages? So I'll look at this report. Now, I've already got it pre-formatted to make it a little faster and easier for us. So here's what I need to study. Okay, so Mickey Cobb, high-level planning, that's going to be July and August, and she's needed 100%. Okay, July and August, Mickey Cobb needed 100%. No, she's not available. Okay, who is? Notice Jamel Williams is available, but Mickey is not. Okay, so I don't think the project manager is going to get Mickey for that first engagement. Okay, so high-level project planning. I'm going to change this to Jamel Williams. Let me just make sure. Was that Jamel? Yeah, sure it was. Now, let's go look at the second engagement. All right, this one, create project documentation. That was October, November, 25%. All right, whoops, what happened there? Looks like I clicked something I didn't want to do. All right, so here we go, Mickey Cobb. Okay, October, November, Mickey Cobb needed 25%. Oh, yeah, look at there. Okay, so we're good on that. She is available. Now we'll go back. And then the last one, project closeout tasks. That's going to be January, February of next year, and she's needed full-time. So let's see, Mickey Cobb, January, February. No, she's not available full-time. Who is? Aha, James Jenkins is. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. I've got the facts, folks. On this one, we're going to say James Jenkins will be the approved resource. So do you see, I used a combination of the resource request page plus another page that will tell me if Mickey Cobb was available, and if not, who else is. So at this point, let me select all three of these. I think I'm ready to accept the resource engagements. So bingo, there we have it. And I'm just going to add a note, substituted to available resources for Mickey Cobb. That'll let the project manager know what I have just done. And then bingo, ladies and gentlemen, look at that. They've gone to committed. Now, folks, the clock has ticked away on us here. So let me just do this. Let me advance my PowerPoint. We've just missed a couple topics, and my apologies. I did promise Prasanna that I would get done in an hour or less. So, folks, I do want to thank you all for attending my presentation. You've been a great group. I hope you learned something new. Prasanna, back to you.
Awesome. Dale, thank you so much for the presentation. So like Dale said, this session has been recorded and it will be available for watching later. Please go ahead and submit session feedback and from the site. So again, thank you, Dale, for your time, and on to the next session.
Bye, everybody.